that came in with that, you see. That's the only reason.
We might as well wait for any kids who can come in class.
That it makes sense? Oh yes, yeah. Read out. Because I know.
Yeah, just dip it in the blood.
Just dip it in the glass. Excuse me. Yes. What's your objective? Been around this time.
Yeah.
Any danger? Quick. Yeah, and I'm burnt. What happened, mate?
Just put that down. Put that down. Are you alright?
What's the matter? What happened?
You okay?
You're having any trouble breathing, are you? What I was thinking was just sit down. Sit down and lay down and take it. My name's Sue. What's your name?
Probably get
What's your
around
name?
the way.
Gordon, is
What's
it?
your trouble, Chief?
All right, I'm just going to loosen off your
What did you
clothes
do to your
here,
ankle?
Gordon. Do you suffer from anything,
Fell over, did
Gordon?
you? Alright.
No? Well, you got a bit of a pain in the
Shift
chest,
you out
have
of the
you?
way a little bit if we
Alright,
can.
loosen
You sit up.
You too hot or anything? Do you need to take your
Pop
jacket
your
off?
hands across your chest.
No,
Drag you out of the way.
What's the matter? How do you feel?
Sit you up against the chair.
You're having a bit of trouble breathing. How long has it been like this?
Just would you like to
Just came on,
move
did it?
over there a little bit and
You
I'll get
right?
you out of the way of the fire.
Do you feel dizzy? Do you need to lie down?
How are you going? Can you hear me?
Alright.
Hello?
Is it, do you know these people here? Who do you know? All of them. And what were you doing? And then all of a sudden you felt funny. Okay then. Alright. I want you to just sit there, turn around. You're comfortable? Okay, I'll be back to you in a minute. How's that treehouse coming along?
The vitamin B in Vegemite helps release the energy kids need to grow.
They're growing stronger every week.
You check
She's
these two out?
unconscious, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't find any major bleeding just from the head, laceration to the head. She's got a burn on the hand,
Yep.
so we'll organise some water for her.
Anyone there that can help? You rock so. We need some water. Everything just full? Just full. Well, here's all right. This is water. It's prop water.
What is your ankle sore, mate? On the
I'll go
inside.
back to him. Do you want some
What did you
observation on
actually do
this
to it?
one?
Or did you fall over? Did you kick somebody? Or? One way to fix this. How much pain are you in?
Yeah, Mrs. You want me some water? Yeah.
Right, sweetheart.
How are you? Any dangers? What happened? Just sit down on the floor. Try and shift that low pressure.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Lay on the floor there.
Oh, right, okay then. Jim, do you want to just help me with this one over the way? Ready?
What happened?
What have you got? You've
knows what happened. Huh?
We're just going to move you over, sweetie. Can you help us?
Goody, what what's your problem? Can't move your legs. Do you hurt anywhere else? Shift you over here. Pop your arms across your chest. Nurse her. What's your problem? Can't breathe? Can we shift you back a little bit? Just move back a little bit.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Where's that hurt? Does it hurt if you take it deep breath? Just lean back against that. Now, what's your problem? What happened to you? Whereabouts? When you see your face.
What's the matter with you, darling? Your ankle. Girl. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm just losing the game. I'm just in my first day. I'm one of Jim's students.
Keep it up, come on, keep it up.
You can't breathe. And we'll lie you down, sweetie. Lie it. Darling, just turn around. Don't touch me, pressing harder on them, and you have to think, right, she's pressing on the burn. So you see the interaction that you've got to keep going between the first aider saying, oh, it's sore, you know, I've just tripped over and hit my head or whatever, and then responding to their actual touching and the way they manage. We had a good first aider and a not so good one. And she was attempting to lie down, our lady that had the... What would happen if she'd have succeeded in getting you back down there to lie down? You had chest injuries, I assume, did you?
Attack.
Heart attack, all right. Well, what do you think might happen?
I could have died.
Well, maybe. But you probably, you know, because you will have to lie down eventually, but perhaps say, you know, I can't breathe and so forth. So you have to be alert to the interaction and also alert to what they're actually doing to you. Is it appropriate or inappropriate? Do you feel easy or are you terrified that they come near you again? Lie still, we're first aiders. Just stay still. It's all right, I'm here to help you. All right. Hold it. Just hold on a second. One minute you go. Oh, so you're all right.
That's Kara Sue.
That's Kara.
Oh, okay. No, it's water. Here.
Kara.
I want you to move. I want you to get rid of that fire. That's working over here. Over there. I know it does sweet up. It looks fine. There's no worries. But it hurts. Surgery and you'll be right. Okay. What have we got here? What
Oh,
have we
she's
done?
tripped over and she's cool. I'll just pick him out to be
Oh,
right.
yeah, no worries. Okay. So what have we got here? Oh, threw me off into a lot. Oh, wow. Oh, listen, I just pulled out for you. It's all right.
It's still hurting.
See if you can pan in on that.
Come and help me. It's still hurting.
Look, I'm a qualified first aider. Will you please go and help that burn? Oh, well.
Help me. Look, I don't know what to do.
You know what to do, don't you?
Yes, I know.
Somebody watch this man.
You come and watch it. What about my burn? I could be scarred for life.
Cold compress on that. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Eric, get
I
something
threw
out of
kerosene on the fire
Yeah.
to make it warmer.
What I'm doing here,
Another roll of that?
15 to 20 minutes and I'll go through that. Okay?
Still hurts.
I know. Okay? Any better? Are you comfortable while you're kidding?
Here we go.
Okay, well, let's try and get you more comfortable.
See, I pick these out.
Alright, okay.
Oh, it hurts.
Okay, we'll just leave it on loosely. That's a cold compress with your burn. Okay?
You can help me by doing this. Very gently hold that on there. That's cold. It will take the heat off.
Someone said handle it.
Has he still got one?
He's all right.
Is that okay? Yep. Right. How's the cold compress? Does it need renewing?
No, it's all right.
Okay. Right. Now you'll be all right.
Yep.
Who else is there? Yes?
He's all right. The sponge on right now.
Okay.
I didn't trust the other one. Not much more.
All right, look, it's in a bit too far, so what we'll do is we'll just leave it like that.
Probably she knows you do it.
Okay? I'll gently bandage it. We'll let the doctor take that one out, okay? We've controlled the hemorrhage on that.
Shall I pick them all out? No worries.
Well, that was very quick. Now what are you going to do? He was just crying.
3, 2, 1, time in.
I need some help. There's been an explosion. No, I'm fine. No, she's good. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Just leave one down in there. Need some help.
I'm doing one with me. It's all right, we're first aiders, no problems. We're here to help you. Just quiet down, I need to talk to you. Joe, just calm down a minute, I need to talk to you. All right? Just calm down. That's a girl. Everything's going to be all right. We've got an ambulance on the way and we're going to take you off to hospital. What else do we have? It was just a little bit of an accident. A couple of burns on your arm. No problem. He's here, he's fine. Sitting next to you. My name's Sue, Joe, and I'm here to help you. Something over your burn. Just a clot, it's all right. And this is just a little bit of water, all right? Feels so much better, doesn't it? You right there, Bob? Do you want to be sick? No, you didn't. Here you go, sweetie. Go for it. The happiest burns victim I've ever seen. What happened? Does it feel better now, Bob? What happened? You have a scalp wound here. That's fine. I'm just going to do some clothing there, make it a bit more easier to breathe. And now she's going to it's a bit sore, but I'll just squeeze it down. Here you go. Put this inside it. Squeeze it nice and tight. All right, Joe, I'm just going to pour a little bit more water on, all right?
Where's she going? You all right?
That's it.
You all right? Can I help?
Oh, you're right, Bob. You sit down, she's fine. You just sit down with her, all right? Each time you stick again on the same.
Yeah, the more you move, the more it's going to hurt.
And what about you? Have you been, has someone checked you?
No, I'm fine.
Let's have a look. You got any more? Do you hurt anywhere else?
Yeah, just my leg.
What about this?
Okay. How are you standing?
So
I
you
just I need to lean over this way away from that.
Just there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
been pleasing. You've all done very well, and it's been great because we've been able to bring out different points from each scene that you've presented. This one was an interesting one. The very efficient and helpful victim. An important part to play often, not very spectacular injuries. You mightn't even get as much as you've got on. Maybe even someone who's been slightly concussed, but who is on the hoof, is running around and really tests the first aid team skills. They have to keep aware of where you're up to, that you haven't got lost in the crowd. They must check you from head to toe. They can't take your word from it. So that's an important part to play. The person, that's going to be a really nice one. We could have, if I was setting you in that scene, I could have you as having a head injury here, having actually been out briefly for a few seconds, recovered and got into action. I'm the helping person, and then perhaps just when it's at the quiet moment, fainted behind, passed out behind the packs and been unconscious. So that's another interesting role to play. They all did very well, and Bob over there he thought, now all this has happened. I realise what I've happened. I'm going to vomit now. And the other thing is that if our ambulance officer, I can malign him in his absence. If he had been here, the way I am aware that they sort of help, they don't run for receptacles and things. They just pull your jumper out in front like that. So it was good, and that broke everybody up. Having the three, you could choose which container was going to throw into. So that was good. And then thinking,
Well, I used a football beanie. We were in the car coming back from the snow, and the girl in the back seat, she's complaining that she's going to be sick. We couldn't stop. So I threw her my son's football beanie, which she proceeded to throw up in.
That's right.
You improvise.
And this is the other thing, is that you want to get to the stage where you can, I don't know what you do, I usually bite my lip or think of something horrible to prevent you from cracking up. Because the first aider occasionally, who's supposed to be having a serious training session, will get a little bit unnerved and try and crack you up and say, it can't be that bad, and try and get you out of role so it makes it a bit easier on them, it's not so tough. So you have to really avoid that. And as I say, if you can create physical pain by biting your lip or that sort of thing, it can help. So there were some good points there. What else did you want to say?
I was just going to say that probably one of the easiest ones to put makeup on, but the hardest ones to act out is our unconscious casualty. And no offence, patient, but my patient lifted his leg up for me, and when I went to roll him, he was halfway there. And often the hardest thing is just to lie there and relax completely and let them do the work and just be completely limp. And that's where that relaxation comes in.
And because of the floor surface and so forth today, we do that part normally in the CAS-SIM course. We actually have everybody playing the part of the deeply unconscious casualty, and it is the most difficult. And that's why, remember, when you're relaxing, you are actually tensing one part and consciously allowing the rest of your body to relax. The unconscious casualty is in fact the most alert of all the casualties there. They have to be, because they have to be ready for the unexpected touch or knock, and not to flinch, not to move. And when it's self-preservation that makes you lift your leg and turn, you sort of think, my shoulder's going to hurt. All of you have probably been the unconscious casualty in a class and how uncomfortable it can be. But you have to learn. That is marvellous for a class of brand new first aiders to come up to a casualty who's really passive and limp and is truly almost unconscious. That gives them a marvellous feeling of what it's like to have to manage a floppy airway. And what you can do, your main things is when they're doing the coma position, they go right over onto your stomach and head face down in the floor. So it is, as Sue's made a good point there, it's a difficult role to play. It's a role that you can practice. Usually when I decide I'm going to practice my unconscious casualty again, I usually do it, when you're just about to go to sleep and you end up falling asleep. But you have to be very aware and very alert to be an unconscious casualty, which is a contradiction in terms. All right, well, what I'm going to do is, you've done exceptionally well. I think we sort of spent barely 2 hours this morning, if you count in the breaks, showing you the basic techniques. So your creativity... Your creativity and your enthusiasm has made a... Pardon?
Is there another one?
Yeah, there isn't. Is there another group?
No.
Have presented us with some excellent scenes which covered all the points perhaps that I haven't mentioned. What I'd like you to do now is to quickly clean up and grab a drink and come and just assemble in front of the board. So willingly you've jumped into the activities, and I hope that that's inspired you to go back from where she came and enjoy casualty simulation, because it is a very fun activity as well as being very useful. Now, just on the scenarios that you did, I think there was excellent. Some of you had previous experience with making wounds. You can see the difficulties with wound edges and with blood and so forth and acting out. You can see those difficulties. Don't be discouraged because we pointed them up. We only point them up so that you can go back and you can perfect them in the next 2 or 3 times that you put on a casualty simulation activity. So go home, try that same scenario again on your next training night for a bit of fun and see how much better you'll do it. But the acting was excellent, and you've got it in your fingers, folks, so keep in there with your casualty simulation. The commitment now, because we did hint at the beginning of the day, we need some sort of a commitment on your part to this, if that's at all possible. The levels of commitment, just a personal commitment, is that maybe all that people can actually promise at this stage to do some CAS-Sim again, whether it's with your first aid training or in your divisional group. Make a personal commitment to have a go at least within the next month at your CAS-Sim techniques. Perhaps in the next couple of weeks put together a few personal bits and pieces and make a personal commitment at least. This is not the last of CAS-Sim that you're going to do for months on end. So that's one level that most everybody in the room can make that commitment. Others might be able to make a commitment to their area, to their geographic area, to start talking about CAS-Sim. You will know, a number of people will know others who would have loved to have been here, who are in their area, who are interested. Get together with those people in the next month or so and make a commitment in your area to let your SES know, to let whoever know that you're keen to put on a few casualties now and again, and start a group in your area. Because quite frankly, you can't expect, we'd love to, and we've done it, we've travelled far and wide. I'm less distance than the others to go, but you can't, there isn't a central specialised team that can be mobilised to your area for CAS-Sim. You will be it in most cases. So there's an area commitment. The other commitment that people may or may not be able to make is a commitment to this group. Now, as I said at the beginning, we don't meet every second Monday or anything like that at the moment, because that seems, people sort of draw back when I ask that sort of commitment. If people could indicate before they leave today whether they are able to give some time to the activities of this group in teaching cadets their casualty simulation badges, and we'll probably run one class before the end of the year. We hadn't thought of it with sort of, sinking feeling, girls, when we mention it. We may, or it may be that it's first up next year. But that would be one area that would be both upgrade your skills yourself and a good day to get involved, and also help us to have more supervisory people on deck when we're doing the classes. The other thing, of course, and last but by no means the least, but perhaps the most important and the most important, is if there is anybody who's able to make a commitment to at least these 2 activities and venues. On the 6th of August at Scotch College there will be casualty first aid competitions. Casualties will be needed, even if you feel you just want to come along and have a go at being a casualty, although most of our adjudicators and our competition managers do provide casualties. There's always someone that goes sick, or you can trip them up in the corridor and have a go yourself. So, and if you weren't able to be a casualty, you'd certainly be able to be someone who could have a go at doing faces, if you do all the faces on that day, or you do the bruises, or you sort of give a hand out with the wounds and the fractures and so forth. So if there are people who feel able to make a commitment to either of those competition days, the 19th of August particularly is a big day. You can be helped to do, we could do make-up with you under supervision, but what we often find is each site, we need someone from CAS-Sim to be at the site between rounds to keep the make-up going. If a wound falls to bits, you're there with your little bits and bobs. They don't have to move off the set. We don't delay them. They can't say that the delay between rounds was because CAS-Sim didn't have their act together. So that's another very valuable area. And after that, well, I don't think we can, you need to go away today and think about what commitment on a long-term basis. As I say, we've got some names, And say, now for instance, we went as far as Horsham last year and the year before to help them do their disc plan thing. And they did their hospital disc plan, tested out their hospital disc plan. It was a railway disaster and that sort of thing. Now, I'm sure that my geography is terrible. We did bring maps today to try and help that, but there would be somebody in that area that could go across and have a go. That's a one-off. You've got the skills in your hands. You can have plenty of time at an activity like that. You can make good wounds, good bruises, great burns. There was plenty of time, plenty of cooperation, and that's something you could have a go at without the supervision of another team member. So in your own area, make your skills known and make yourself available and have a go. Look, we've laughed and cried at some of the efforts we've had. And we've had reasonable compliments and encouragement from adjudicators and first aid competition managers. Some people have been less than complimentary, but we ignore those because they're the very people who've never ever had a go and never seen how difficult it can be and how they how much time and effort needs to go into presenting a reasonable casualty with the wound. So we ignore them, we poke faces behind their back when they've turned around, no matter at what brass level they are, they're passing comments about it. Ignore those, don't let those sort of comments deter you. Have a go, and I'll leave it now. Feedback, well, we'll be packing up for a little minute or so. If you give us some feedback on what you've got from today or you haven't got or you'd like to get, I won't hold people who need to go up with that, but we'd like to hear from you now. If you can take the time to write to Glad or Sue or myself, the address will be on your original sheet. We'd love to hear from you about how this sort of activity could be done better, more often, what we could include, what we could exclude. So I'll finish by encouraging you to make whatever commitment you can. If it's personal, you note it down there. Sort of this day, I'm personal area or group. Make that commitment, and then you're free to go. But thanks again for your travelling. Thanks again for your attention, and I wish you well as the new generation of casualty simulators in the metropolitan wider area. Thanks again.